So the name of our association is Alba Malta North Africa. Alba stands for Bolivarian Alliance of the People of Our Americas. It is an organization created by Comandante Fidel Castro and Chavez in 2004 in order to counter the North American Free Trade Agreement. This was one of the main objectives, and also an alliance who works for the integration of South American countries to make them more independent economically, politically, and culturally, and above all, to struggle against poverty. This is the main objective of Alba. Today, Alba is attacked, facing economical and military aggression by big corporations and the financial capital. Venezuela, Nicaragua, or Cuba suffers economical and military aggression and destabilizations. So we, as Alba Malta North Africa, support this project of regional integration and of independence. And how we support it? We support it through information campaigns in university, cultural centers, union, publications also, or also in the street. And we have been doing this in Tunisia and Malta, and also now in the south of Spain, in Andalusia. Another objective of our association is to support any countries who struggle for its national liberation against NATO attacks. We are part of two main networks, European Network of Solidarity with Venezuela and Cuba, and the Spanish network of the Movement of Solidarity with Syria and its government. So, Movimiento de Apoyo a Syria, that is the name. So today, the Alba Movimientos called for an International Day of Solidarity with the Bolivarian Venezuela. And so we join also this movement and this call, because it's an international call, so many organizations are doing this all around the world. Even it is missed by mainstream, everyday people are fighting in Libya, in Yemen, in Syria, in Somalia, in Afghanistan, in Ukraine, in Palestine, in Colombia, and in Venezuela. People are facing serious humanitarian consequences: genocide, ethnic cleansing, migration, land expropriation, and this with total impunity of the responsible of these war crimes. We can take the example of Libya, and I think Dr. Zubaidi will talk about that with more details. Libya, because it's very close to Malta, geographically and historically. Just to remind some facts, in Libya, Libya in 2011 was bombed with 30,000 bombs during 7 months, violating all international laws. 1/3 of the Libyan population had to go into exile. 2% of the population was murdered. Libya has become, as you may know, a bankrupt state and an arena for extremist Islamist groups and banditism, while its oil is literally looted by major corporations as the Italian Eni or the Total of the French Total. So the battle for information, especially on this subject, is very difficult, because it is the battle for the truth. Are we manipulated by all major conflict and war propaganda? Who censor, and more importantly, according to which interest? Who remembers the words of the American General Wesley Clark in an interview about wars in Afghanistan and Iraq? He revealed a Pentagon document where it was written this word. This is a memo that describes how we are going to destroy 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finally Iran. Why are neo-colonial violence due to capitalist structural crisis on the West hidden by mainstream? Why does the media present this aggression as a liberation against a tyrant? Why the socio-economic cause of migration are missed by mainstream? In our view, we should put this NATO's aggression in context by emphasizing the contradiction between inter-imperialist powers. The emergence of new economic power like China, Brazil, Russia, India, or South Korea, with the organization of BRICS, Shanghai Treaty, or even the American Alba, and the old capitalist powers. At this point, it is important to reveal the cards played by imperialism to expose the pages of hidden history and hidden interest. The situation is very difficult and there is emergency. We have no pretension to find all the clues in this meeting, but we have the duty to repeal this information. And to repeal this information, we thought that it was more than necessary to invite to Malta the Italian journalist Marinella Correggia, who has been dedicated her life fighting against NATO, Dr. Zubaidi, former ambassador of the Socialist Arab Jamahiriya to Brazil, and the Maltese former ambassador to Libya, Dr. George Saliba. So we have, from our side, we have finished our introduction. We invite you all to stay after the documentary. I think it's a unique occasion to exchange and clarify some points. We hope that this meeting will contribute to rebuild and reinforce the peace international movement in Malta and everywhere where it is necessary, as it has become very weak.
I am an eco-peace activist and journalist, and here we present in this video the Will Everything Be Forgotten, which was before it was prepared in Italian and now it was translated into English. This is the first time for the English version. So thank you for Alba Malta for that. And it is a part of the project Truth Against Wars, which is really, like Sinia said, a way of raising the truth, because the truth can really be a tool against the wars, and the lies are the opposite. I want to stress one thing, that an association which is which works in solidarity with Alba countries is indeed the right host for this kind of documentary, because this documentary denounces the wars of aggression, and the Alba governments and the Alba people were those who struggled more against the wars in the last years. And the case of Libya is so important, and we will see in the documentary how Alba countries tried to avoid the NATO destruction of Libya and the destabilization of all Africa and the Middle East. And another important thing is that we are on the 100th anniversary of the First World War, which is called by somebody Great War. No, it's not a Great War, it was a Great Massacre, and really useless massacre, as the Pope said. So it is also a time to reflect on how we can build a world without wars. In the Soviet time they said Miru Mir, means peace to the world. It's peace to the world and the world of peace. And we are also in the 90th anniversary of the Bryan-Kellogg Pact. It was supposed to eliminate the war as a means of solving the international controversies, but it didn't happen like that. And the documentary, Everything Will Be Forgotten, is I prepared also some images, but we cannot show now, is really focusing on the last, let's say, almost 30 years of wars since the first war against Iraq in '91, where there was a clear axis of the wars made by NATO countries and the Gulf countries, plus Israel, to wage wars which destroyed nations and geographical areas and brought terrorism to the world, by the way. Those wars of aggression were so fought against Iraq 2 times, against Syria, against Libya, Afghanistan, Yemen, and Yugoslavia, Kosovo in 1999. I have to remind one thing very important, that speaking about war of aggression, like the wars I mentioned, and it's the matter of the documentary, is not just a way of saying, because war of aggression was declared by the Nuremberg Tribunal after the Second World War as the supreme international crime. So there is nothing worse than a war of aggression, supreme international crime. So it means that every kind of activity we have been doing in our life, this should be anyway one of our main commitments, to struggle against those wars. But as Sinia said, in the last years we were few struggling, and the Libya case was really very sad on that. I want to say 2 words also about my country, Italy. My country has a very bad record. It was born, my country, in 1861. And since that time, my country, if we put apart the resistance war against the fascism, my country only waged aggression wars, wars of aggression. Never had to defend, we were never aggressed, we aggressed all the time. So it's really a bad record. And that was, if you want I can send you this thing, it's very important. An Italian priest, Don Lorenzo Milani, sent a letter in 1962, to all the military chaplains, saying you are following the army, but the Italian army is not defending the country, is aggressing other countries, and this cannot be tolerated. So it was like a call to stop this kind of aggression, aggressive behavior. But we repeated, and also in the last decades, since the first Gulf War, Italy always sided with the wrong side, with the side of the aggression wars. And that's why also I strongly decided to make this documentary, which is a list of all the crimes and all the lies which made possible those crimes. By the way, also in the first Gulf War, in the 1991, Alba was not there as a group because it was born many years later. But Cuba was very good, also in the case of first Gulf War. Cuba opposed the war against Iraq, which was avoidable. It was possible to negotiate. And in the Security Council, the only country member, not a permanent member, which opposed the first Iraq war was Cuba with Yemen. We have to remember this brave, poor country which resisted to the attempt by Saudi Arabia to buy Yemen. But Yemen resisted, and he paid with a big price, we will see in the documentary. Another country I want to remember which opposed the first Gulf War in 1991 was Nicaragua. The President Ortega was among the last presidents trying to go to Baghdad and to avoid this war. And Libya and Algeria were the only countries in the Arab world which really opposed the war on Iraq. We don't have to forget these things, no? And then we come to the few words only about the Operation Unified Protector in 2011 against Libya. If, for me, the first Gulf War in 1991 was like a watershed, because it was the first war that my country was waging against another people without being aggressed by Iraqis. The 2011 NATO war and the Italian war against Libya was even worse. Why? Because we were few demonstrating. We were really maybe 5, 6 people, I don't say thousands, I say people, 5, 6, in the streets. at that time. In the time of the other wars, we were more. There was a minority of peace activists which were against their governments, this axis of wars. But in the case of Libya, the lies were so huge that the peace movement was silent. And I have a picture, if you want, of one of our small demonstrations where we asked the people movement, why you are silent after 7 months of bombings on Libya, which, and we know the results of those 7 months of bombings on Libya. And in the documentary you will see a lot of things about the war in Libya, because we try to reconstruct how the lies started. Who started the main lies on Libya in 2011, and then in his own words, this Suleiman Boukidjir, then he admitted that he was lying. So it's self-admission, we have to trust him, no?
Yeah.
I was in touch at the time of the bombings in Libya. I went there 2 times, and I was in touch with the Tunisian, one man from Tunisia. Unfortunately, we were not in touch with Sinia and the others. But this man in Tunisia, he was also very sad because there were no demonstrations in Tunisia against the war. They managed to do one in September, only one, with 100 people. And when I went to Libya the first time in May 2011, one Libyan citizen asked me, why in Italy there are no demonstrations against these bombings? You were so many millions in the streets for Iraq in 2003. Yes. So I really was so sad for that, because he was right. Compensate Libyan citizens for what they suffered, and they are still suffering. Yes. And that's why maybe I hope we will discuss how to support the Libyan movements also for the future. Thank you very much.